Hey there. My name is Mike and I am 33 years old. I work in a consulting firm as a senior consultant. I joined the firm 8 years ago as a junior associate, and 2 years ago, I was promoted to the role of senior consultant. But this isn't a story about how I finished my studies and managed to join one of the biggest consulting firms in the city. It's about something else. It's about how I met one of my middle school friends, David, after a really long time. It still fascinates me to think about how we met each other again 15 years later. But first, let me tell you about the time I met David for the first time. I was in the 6th grade when the teacher announced that a new student would be joining us. The teacher called out David's name and David came in. David's mom and dad had just got divorced and her mom moved into the city with him. It was a completely new city to him. He didn't know anyone and he seemed like a shy kid. He came in walking with his head down. The teacher introduced him to the class and told him to sit in the chair behind me. I didn't even get to see his face when he was walking towards his chair. And I was the kind of kid who was always curious. I kept looking back at him and the entire time his head was down. He was doodling something in his notebook. At lunch break, we all went to the school cafeteria and there I saw him, sitting all alone on a bench. I went up to him to talk to him. "Hey, new kid. My name is Michael, but my friends call me Mike. It's good to meet you." "Hi, I am David." "I know," the teacher told us. "I didn't get to see your face in the class. Why do you always have your head down?" I don't know. It's a new place for me. It just feels too much." "It's all right. The first day is always the worst. It's going to be all right. You just need to make some friends around here." "I am not really good at making friends. I'll be your friend." "Oh, thanks." "You're welcome. So what are you having?" "Just bread with some butter and some mashed potatoes." "What? You're having bread with mashed potatoes? Here, have some spaghetti. My mom makes the best spaghetti." "It's all right." "Oh, come on. Don't be shy. Here, have some. I have lots. I also got some ketchup if you want." "Thanks. So where are you from?" "I am from the countryside. My mom left my dad and we moved to the city. It's only been 2 weeks since we've come here." "I am sorry to hear about your mom and dad splitting up." "It's all right. They used to fight a lot. Everything has been better since we moved to the city." "That's good to know. Where do you live?" "I live in an old neighborhood not too far from here. My family owns a small local store in the main city area. My mom and dad run it together." "That's nice." "It is. Dad sometimes lets me sneak out some candies from the store. Mom doesn't know about this. It's fun. I'll take you to the store someday. We can play there, do our homework and play board games." "My dad is really good at board games. It's hard to beat him." "Sounds fun." We talked a lot that day. I told him about all of the students in the class and their funny stories. It was nice to see David laugh. He seemed so scared at first, but then he opened up. We got along really well. After the lunch break, we went back to the class and David looked a little less uptight now. Maybe because he knew had a friend in school now. After a few days, I took David to my family's store and we played a lot there. We played hide and seek and my dad played along with us. It was fun. We became good friends. Soon we became best friends. We used to hang out all the time. He used to spend the night at my home sometimes when we didn't have school the next day. My parents and David's mom also became friends. I had a lot of friends in school and they all became David's friends as well. David was not the shy kid anymore. He used to hang out with us all the time and used to laugh a lot. He had a funny laugh. It sounded like a crow singing. After a few months, I got very sick. I didn't go to school for about a week and the entire week I was just sitting in my home. The next week, when I was feeling a little better, I went to the school and there I saw David sitting all alone in his chair. I went up to him to say hi and I could tell by the way he said hi that something was wrong. I asked him what had happened but he didn't respond. At lunch break, we went to the cafeteria and I saw he had only brought bread for lunch. Just bread and nothing else. At first I thought he had forgotten to bring his other lunchbox or something, but he started eating it. I was confused. I asked him why he was only having bread for lunch. "Hey, why are you having plain bread for lunch? Did you forget to bring your other lunchbox or something?" "No, this is my lunch." "Plain bread?" "Yes." "With nothing else? No peanut butter? No jam? Nothing?" "I like it this way." "How are you having this?" Doesn't it feel too dry? It does. But it's nothing. What happened? Do you want to tell me something? It's just Mom's not doing very well. She has been sick. She also lost her job. She acts like everything is fine, but I can see it on her face that she's lying. It's been really bad. I am sorry to hear that. You should take her to the doctor. I tell her that we should go visit a doctor, but she doesn't give in. I don't know why she doesn't want to go to the doctor. Maybe she's just scared. Maybe. I don't know. Here, have some broccoli. I know nobody likes it, but it's better than having plain bread. I also got some strawberries. It's all right, I can have just bread. I am used to it. Oh, come on. Give me some bread. I'll have it with some broccoli. Hopefully it'll taste better when we eat it together. All right, here you go. Thanks. We had lunch together, and he was happy to eat broccoli. Can you imagine a kid enjoying eating broccoli? I guess it was better than having plain bread. I went back home that day and told my mom about everything. I told her about how David's mom was sick and he was going through a tough time. My mom told me that she would make 2 lunch boxes from now on, one for me and one for David. The next day, I went to the school and David hadn't brought his lunch. He told me that his mom was asleep and he didn't want to wake her up, so he came to school without lunch. I pulled out 2 lunch boxes from my bag and told him that my mom had made one for him. The moment he heard this, he went silent for a while. He just kept looking at the lunch boxes. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. After a while, he said thanks and took the lunch box. I could see in his face that he was too hungry to say no. My mom had made meatballs and spaghetti for the both of us. David ate lunch like he had been hungry for ages. I saw him eat, and it strangely made me happy. He seemed so grateful while eating it. I started to bring an extra lunch box for him every day. He used to bring his lunch box sometimes, but it was usually some fruits or plain bread, or sometimes peanut butter on bread on his best days. After a few days, he didn't hesitate to take the lunch box from me. He started to feel like family. He even used to ask me what I had brought for him for lunch. He became like a family member to us. My mom used to visit David's mom sometimes. My mom also used to take David's mom to the doctor. Whenever David's mom had to stay in the hospital, David used to stay at my home. After a few months, David's mom started feeling better and everything went back to normal. His mom joined a new job and things were starting to get better. But my mom still used to send a lunchbox for him sometimes whenever she made something special. After middle school, David's mom and David had to move out to another city for her job. They went to another city and I never saw him after that. We didn't have a cell phone back then, so we had no way to stay in touch. David shared his mom's email address and I promised him that I would send him an email from my dad's email account, but with time, we moved on in life and we forgot about each other. After I graduated from high school, I went to college to study business administration. After college, I joined the consulting firm as a junior associate. When I first joined the firm, I met Jerry, who was a consultant back then. He and I were on the same team. He was a headache to everyone. He was the kind of guy who was too confident for his own good. He thought he was the best at everything and everybody else was beneath him. Nobody really liked him. I still remember the first time I met him and I instantly knew that he was not the kind of guy I would want to hang around with. My boss, Joe, introduced me to him, but he was too arrogant to have a conversation with the new guy. Mike, this is Jerry, one of the consultants on our team. He'd be the one to brief you about the clients our team manages. Oh, hey Jerry, I am Mike. I've joined as a junior associate. Oh geez, another one. I am sorry. Is something wrong? Junior associates like you are of no use, honestly. You're just a waste of the company's money. I'll try my best to be of good use to you. I know a fresher like me is not of much use right now, but I am sure after I get a hold of things, I'll be of good use to you. Yeah, right. All of you guys only talk big. When it comes to showing what you have, all of you turn into a helpless person like a blind old man trying to find his way in a maze. Everybody has to start from somewhere. I am pretty sure you were a junior associate once too. I was, but things were different back then. We had no one to hold our hands and teach us everything. You are blessed to be starting out your career where everybody is ready to spoon-feed you everything. It felt like a blessing until I met you. What did you say? I said, the things you said were starting to feel true until I met you. I mean, you don't seem like a person who would do all of this and it's a good thing. I agree with you. Newbies like me should learn everything by getting into the playing field. You know what? I am starting to like you. A little. Just a little. Well, that's a start. but it still doesn't change the fact that you'll be a liability to me. I understand. Now get out of here. I got things to do. I'll go. I went to meet other people on our team. Joe introduced me to the entire team and everyone else was kind to me except Jerry. I met everyone else and I went to the break area. I met the other junior associates who had joined the company with me and I told them about Jerry. Some of them had already met him during lunchtime and they all said the same thing. He was a jerk to everyone. A few weeks went by. Other junior associates had a little banter with Jerry but not me. I knew it would be best for me to avoid meeting him. I tried my best to learn everything from everyone else but Jerry. He was just too arrogant. After a few months, Jerry came up to me while I was working on some paperwork. Jerry came up to my cubicle and sat right beside me. I looked at him, but he didn't say anything. He just sat there, looking at the paperwork I was working on. I asked him if I could help him with something, but he didn't say a word. He just sat there, so after a while, I continued working on the paperwork. After about 10 or 15 minutes, he said something rudely in his condescending tone, as always. "Who do you think you are, kid?" "I am sorry, what?" "Who do you think you are? Do you think you're better than everyone else?" "I am sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Did I do something wrong?" "Joe told me you've been going to other people, asking them to teach you everything. Don't you think you should reach out to someone from your team to teach you these things? What would people think of me? Do you think I am not competent enough to mentor you?" I am confused now. When we first met, you told me that I'd be a liability to you, that I am of no use, so I figured that I should go to other people to learn how things work here. I didn't want to bother you. Oh, how thoughtful of you. Should I say thanks to you now? Don't act like I don't know what's going on here. Quit acting all innocent. Jerry, I really don't know what's going on here, and I have no idea what you're talking about. Listen, Joe just told me that I was supposed to mentor you and brief you about everything, but you've been going to other people. What would others think of me? That you think I am no good to teach you, to mentor you? I've been here for a very long time. I know how things work here and I know what you're trying to do. So quit the act and let me know what's the deal with you. Well, I just told you why I didn't come to you, but if you feel like I should come to you to learn things, then I'll be more than happy to learn everything from you. You think you're so slick. Still acting all innocent, like you don't know anything. You know what? I'll talk to Joe and I'll tell him that you'll work with me now. On my clients. I'll teach you how things work here. The hard way. Jerry, I don't want any problems. If you want to teach me everything, I'll be more than happy to learn from you, but if you want to be all vindictive about something I've not even done, then I would have to talk to Joe about it. Alright, if you want to play it that way, go learn from others, but the moment I get a hold of you, I'll let you know who I am. Alright, Jerry. If you want to take all of this the wrong way, you can. Now can I get back to doing what I was doing before you came? Yes, sure. You're a busy man. I am sure you have a lot to do. Get back to doing whatever useless thing you were doing. Alright. Jerry left, but I knew he would not stay quiet. He was the kind of guy who would keep grudges forever and never let it go. A few weeks ago, he had a banter with one of the junior associates and Jerry ridiculed him in front of the entire staff. Jerry even made fun of the way he looked. That man didn't know when to stop. And now I was on his radar and I knew he wouldn't let me work in peace. He would do something and I had to be ready for it. A few weeks went by and nothing happened. Jerry was acting all cool and whenever he met me, he behaved nicely. One day he came to my cubicle and told me how sorry he was to treat me harshly. And like a fool, I believed everything he said. I believed that he was sorry and regretted everything he said. I should have known better. It was the end of the financial year, next month, and everyone was getting their work reports ready for appraisal assessment. Jerry asked me to help him with his reports and I agreed to help him. I thought he genuinely wanted my help. He went a little slow at first, giving me little tasks to help him make reports. After a few days, he went all out. He buried me in piles of paperwork. He even got me to work on the paperwork of other consultants' clients. I used to sit in the office for 12 hours every day to work on that paperwork. It went on for about a month. I realized that it was a mistake to agree to help him. It was only after the appraisals were done that I got to know that Jerry had played me. He made me work on old paperwork which had nothing to do with last year's work. I worked 12 hours a day for about a month for nothing. Jerry got me good. I went up to him to confront him about this, and he had the most devilish smile on his face. He was proud of what he did. Hey Jerry, I know what you did. I went to Joe with the paperwork that you had me work on, and he told me that it was the old paperwork and it had nothing to do with the appraisals. I told you you'd pay for what you did. Oh God. Not again. I didn't do anything, Jerry. You take me for a fool, kid. But look at yourself now. The joke's on you now. Listen, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I was genuinely trying to help you for your appraisal. I could have messed up your paperwork if I wanted to, but I didn't. Because I don't have bad blood with you. Doesn't matter if you believe me or not. See, I told you you'd take me for a fool. I never gave you anything significant. All of the paperwork was either of old clients or of small clients that don't make a difference. And for the record, I didn't recheck any of the paperwork you did, so I am not really sure if you messed up on anything or not. Do you think I would rely on a pathetic and incompetent junior associate like you? All right, Jerry, that's enough. I know you won't believe anything I say, so I'll just leave it here. I'll be talking to Joe about all of this. I knew you'd go to Joe. I have it covered. I already informed Joe that I would hand you old paperwork to work on. I told him it was part of your training and he happily agreed. So go to Joe all you want. It won't make a difference. I wanted to go to Joe to tell him that I wanted to work with someone else. Anyone but you. So I'll still go to him. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. All right, Mikey. Good riddance. The feeling is mutual. I went to Joe and I told him that I wanted to work under someone else, and I guess he already had an idea that Jerry was getting on my nerves now, so he agreed at once. Plus, Jerry had already had a lot of altercations with other associates, so it didn't really take a genius to figure out that Jerry was the problem. Joe sent me to work with another team, and fortunately, those guys were way better than Jerry. They were kind to me and treated me like a colleague. I started working with another team, and things were a lot better. A year later, I was promoted to the role of senior associate and Jerry became a senior consultant. After everything that had happened between me and Jerry, it made me mad that a guy like him was still in the office and was getting promoted. He was having a good time. My promotion didn't make me nearly as happy as Jerry's promotion made me mad. I guess that's how human nature is. We see the bad things first. One day, Joe made an announcement that in the coming weekend we had to go to the main headquarters of our company in another city to attend a town hall meeting and a workshop. The company had arranged airplane tickets, accommodation, and everything for all of us. We were excited. We were about to have a vacation on the company's expenses. It was a win. The day came when we had to travel. We all went to the airport on a bus arranged by Joe, and we reached the airport. We went inside and stood in the queue to check in our bags. We checked in our bags and we went for the boarding process. I was standing in the queue and Jerry was standing in the queue 5 to 6 people ahead of me. He completed the boarding process and he turned around to look at me. And then he said something that embarrassed me in front of everyone. He looked at me and said, "Hold on, what is little Mikey doing here? Joe has arranged train tickets for poor people. You're in the wrong place, kid." As soon as he said this, everyone standing in the queue burst into laughter. Everybody was looking at me and laughing. I just stood there with my head down, embarrassed. I did the boarding process. Me and my other colleagues were headed toward the airplane when a man came running behind us. He called out my name and everybody turned around to see what was going on. The man came up to me and told me that I'd just got an upgrade. I was now flying in business class. I was a little confused, like everybody else. Joe came up to me and told me that I'd been upgraded to business class, just me, nobody else. Everybody was confused. I asked Joe why I was the only one who got the upgrade. And Joe told me that he had no idea what was going on. He just got a call from the headquarters that you've just been upgraded to business class. I didn't know what was going on, but I was happy that I was getting to fly in business class. We boarded the plane and we reached our destination. It was a great feeling to fly first class in front of all the people who laughed at me. We reached the headquarters and there were a lot of people. We had a town hall meeting and the workshop in the afternoon, and we had a party at night. A lot of people came to the party, employees from different offices and the clients as well. I was just having a glass of champagne with some of my teammates when Jerry came. He came and he was a little tipsy already. "Hey, what's up, fellas? How we all doing? Oh, you're also here. Hey, Jerry, it's always great to see you." I smell sarcasm, but it's okay. I've already won. Remember the time I made you work for 12 hours a day? It was fun to watch. Yeah, super fun. You're such a prick, kid. You know I've never liked you. Well, that's news to me. Nobody saw it coming. Jerry kept going on and on about how he made me work 12 hours a day for a month, and he was so proud of it. Soon everybody who was with me left, and it was just me and Jerry now. I wanted to bail on him, but he didn't let me go anywhere. After a while, Joe came and he immediately knew Jerry was a little tipsy. I just blinked at him and he knew that I wanted him to take Jerry away. But Jerry wouldn't budge. After a while, I felt someone put a hand on my shoulder. I turned around and I saw a man who looked strangely familiar, but I couldn't figure out who he was. Then Joe introduced him to me, and as soon as I heard his name, all the memories from my middle school flashed right in front of my eyes. "Mike, this is David. He is one of the biggest clients our company has, and let me tell you, he is also a shareholder in our company." "Mike, remember me? I am David." "Is it really you, David?" "Yeah, man. I am David. We went to middle school together. Don't you remember? Your mom used to send an extra lunchbox for me." "Oh, hey, David. It's so good to see you. How have you been?" "I've been doing pretty good. How are you and how are your parents? I hope they're doing well." Yeah, I am good, man. Mom and Dad are also good. It's so good to see you. How long has it been?" 14 years. 15 years, I think. It's been such a long time. How is your mom?" "Well, I hope she's in a better place now. She passed away 4 years ago." "I am so sorry to hear that, David. Wait, you know him?" "We went to the same middle school." "Oh, come on, Mike. We were more than just two kids who went to the same middle school." "Mike is like family to me. I checked the guest list and I saw your name. I didn't think it would be you, but then I saw your profile in the company's employee database and it was you. What are the odds, right? And also, I should tell you, Mike, he was the one who upgraded your ticket to business class. Seems like you're quite special to him." "Oh, we go way back." "Thanks, David. Hold on. How can someone like Mike have a friend like you? I've heard about you. You're one of the major shareholders in our company, right?" "Yes, I am. And would you mind telling me who you are? And why are you referring to Mike like that?" "I am Jerry. I am a senior consultant in the company. Mike used to work under me." "Used to?" "Yeah, working under me was too overwhelming for him." "Mike, what is he saying?" "It's nothing, David. Let it go. I'll tell you. It's a funny story. I made him work 12 hours a day for about a month. And that too on old paperwork. And this fool fell for it. Haha." "You did what? How can you do this to someone?" "It's all right, David. Just let it go. It's between me and Jerry." "Joe, we need to talk about this." "Sure, whenever you want." "And you, Jerry, or whatever your name is, you're going to pay for what you did to Mike." But it was a joke. Just a joke. Jerry realized that David was in no mood to joke. Jerry was a little tipsy before, but now things were getting serious. I took David away to avoid any more drama. We went to the corner of the hall, but David was too furious. He told me he'd make Jerry pay. I told him to forget about it and enjoy the party. And we went back to catching up on each other's lives. A few days after the work trip, Joe announced in front of the entire office that Jerry was getting fired because of his harsh behavior towards everyone. As soon as I heard this, I knew it was David who had made this call. Jerry's face went pale. A few moments later, Joe told everyone about how Jerry gave me old paperwork to work on and how he also made me work 12 hours a day. As soon as Jerry heard this, he looked at me and I looked at him with a smirk. Joe gave him his termination letter and told him he was on a 30-day notice period and went back to his cabin. I was so happy that Jerry was finally going to pay for what he had done to me. For the entire 30 days of Jerry's notice period, he came up to me every day begging me to forgive him and talk to David to take back his termination, but I had no intention of letting him stay. 30 days later, he was gone and everyone was so relieved. Jerry kept calling me for weeks, begging me to let him stay, but I didn't give in. Eventually, he gave up trying. It has been 3 years since Jerry got fired and he has moved out to another city. Before he moved out of the city, he came to the office one last time to tell me how sorry he was, and this time he genuinely seemed like he regretted everything he did. In our line of work, news spreads like wildfire. As soon as news came out of his wrongdoings, he didn't get a job anywhere else. Although I do feel bad for him sometimes, I hope he learns from his mistakes and tries to be a better person. But I'll be honest, it's delightful to know that Jerry knows that I am the reason he got fired. I am pretty sure he's no longer proud of the wrongdoings he did.